Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and in this episode, we're going to answer the question, how to buy tax lien certificates in Maryland. I'm also going to discuss some ways to make money with those tax lien certificates, and then I'll end the video by giving you a few things to avoid to make sure you don't make the newcomer mistakes at those tax defaulted auctions. So stay tuned, and I'll come right back. How to buy tax lien certificates in Maryland. Now, here's a few facts. Now, you know it's a small state, but they have 24 counties. Now, the rates are all over the map here. So what you have to understand in Maryland is that, as in every state, the counties make their own rules. So if you don't read the county rules, you're going to be challenged by this. Now, they can pay all the way up to 24% in the state of Maryland. However, the county is going to decide what the rate in that particular county is. So if you're buying a tax lien certificate in some of the largest counties like Montgomery County or Prince George's County, sit down and find out what the rate in that county is. It could be 12% in one county and 24% right next door. That might be 3 miles down the road. So you need to think about what you're doing. You don't want to just start buying tax lien certificates. All right, now let's talk about these certificates. They're sold in half of the counties across the United States. The lowest I've ever seen is a 12% rate. Highest I've ever seen is a 39% rate. In Maryland, it's all over the map. So you need to go to the county rules prior to doing anything at a tax auction. Now, when you buy a tax lien certificate, you do not get possession of the property. What is the county trying to do here? They're trying to force people to pay taxes. When those people don't pay their taxes on time, they charge them very high fees. You could find a 12% fee. You could find 18%. You could find up to 24%. I don't know which county you're going to go to, but I can tell you if you haven't read the rules, you're going to miss out. So you want to make sure you've done that. So what am I answering today in terms of question? How to buy tax lien certificates in Maryland. Local government wants to sell those certificates because they need the money. Now, what are they going to do with that money? They're going to do a lot of things with the money. Pay the police department, the fire department. They're going to pay for the schools. Now, all those bills have to be paid. So if a property owner does not pay, they will put that property into default. Once it's in the default situation, they're going to start racking up some pretty high rates, all the way up to 24%. So if the property owner defaults completely and they don't pay after you bought the certificate, you're going to end up with the property. So I'm going to repeat some of that so to make sure that we nail this down. So first of all, Maryland has 24 different counties. The fees can be a very low 12%, but they can be all the way up to 24%. Now, what are those fees? They're basically late fees. When the people don't pay the bill, they're going to have a late fee. When you buy the tax certificate, the longer it stays out, the more money you're going to earn. So you'd love to have a tax certificate that stayed outstanding for a whole year and you earned all the way up to 24%. So I don't know which county you'll pick. You can pick Arundel County or Prince George's or whatever, but you're going to find out that the rates are different in each one of them. Now, the county will publish that information on the county website. They will also publish that more than likely in local newspapers so that you'll know some of the rules, but you'll know all of the properties that are going to have tax lien certificates available. You are not buying a property in Maryland. What you're buying is a tax lien certificate. Now, the rules are different at every auction. Some auctions, they'll have you bidding up on the property value. Other ones will have you bidding on the interest rate. You need to understand that information before you jump into the sale. The property is going to be listed on a county website so you can find out any information you want about the property. Is it 3 bedrooms? Is it 2 bedrooms? Does it have a value of $400,000? Is it $800,000? All that information is available to you on the county website. None of this information is hidden. The only thing that's unusual is that each county will have a different rate. So if you don't know what that rate is, then you won't know how much money you're going to make on the certificate. Now, if you buy a certificate, most of the property owners will come in and pay their tax. 95, maybe even 97% of the time, the people will come in and pay the tax. When they pay the tax, they have to pay whatever the late fees were, 10%, 12%, whatever they are. So you'll probably make money that way. If the people do not come in and pay, then you're going to end up with the property. Okay, so you'd like to know how many certificates are available. Each county will more than likely take a local newspaper and they'll print all the certificates in the local paper. But if they don't print it in the local paper, you'll find it on the website. But if there was a question about that, you could always call the county and say, can you download all the certificates that are available? So there's multiple places to find out. Usually it's a little local newspaper so that you can look up all the certificates online. Current value of the property is a number of ways to find that out, but you can go onto the county website, look up the property, and every property will have a tax assessed value. You could also go to the multiple listing service if you knew a broker, or you could go in Zillow, which is a public company. You could go and drive down the street and find the for sale signs. There's lots of ways. If nothing else, you can knock on doors on that street and find out what the value of the property was. Okay, what are we going to do next? Well, I want to give you 2 big mistakes that people make, and I don't want you to make them, and that's why I include these as I finish the video. So if you're going to bid on a property, don't bid on any property that you haven't looked at. Now, many things could happen to a property. Probably a broken record when you hear me say this, but if you see any of my other videos, I'm always saying the same thing. Do not bid if you haven't looked at the property. Why? Because it could have been a hurricane, there could have been a flood, there could have been a fire. It's amazing how much of this happens and people haven't looked at the property. So don't buy a property you haven't looked at, because when you pay the county, don't expect them to give you any money back. If you're upset with it, it's because you didn't look at it. And they're going to say right in the rules, look at the property. Okay, the other thing that you want to be careful of is make sure before you bid that you have an exit strategy. If you don't know how you're getting out, if we're going to say don't bid and get in, you got to know how to get out so that you make some money. We're in the business of making money here. All right, now I'm always looking for people who like to be part of my community. So if you've learned a lot and you're learning from these videos, why not be part of the community and then you can get to these videos quicker? So how do you do that? Well, number one, if you'll do it, I'll give you a gift. I said a gift. And that means something easy for you that you can learn more. And what it's going to be is a fast start course. It's about an hour long, and it starts out teaching you about tax lien certificates, and it finishes with telling you about tax deeds. It's absolutely free, and all you have to do to get it is go below me and register.